You can see.
And there on the side, it says power.
No, it's something else.
And the green, did you try the green?
Yeah, that's.
And how do you know whether it's on or not? Maybe it's on.
It looks like it is on now. I think it is on now. Keep it here. Make sure that you can see me in this. You can see me in the screen.
It's too.
Just no, fall down.
Yeah, I know.
You can raise this up or down depending on how you want.
Raise this up? I don't know Babaji how to use it.
Up, down.
Okay.
Russian.
I don't know Babaji how to do it. It doesn't move. It should come up a little bit.
What do you want? You want to up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this. Just lift it up.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a telescope.
No, it's opposite. Yeah, it's opposite. Because I'm not used to it. Oh my God.
Lift this.
No, I can see only half of your face. Sorry. I can see only half.
No.
No, this screen should come up a little bit, so I have to put it up. Now it is getting better. Now I can see.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's think that it's on, right?
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्वसे नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter number 12, verse number 42. Maitreya is continuing to explain the process of creation. How Brahma created different sages and created the Vedas, Upavedas, Itihas, Puran, 8 types of sacrifices, 4 principles of dharma, 4 ashramas, and 4 duties of the ashramas. Now he is describing these duties. Says Savitram Prajapatyam cha Brahmam cha Brihat tatha Vartaya Sancha Shalina Shiloncha iti vai grihe Vaikhanasa Balakilya Adumbara Fena Pavane Nyase Kuti Chakah Purvam Bhagavodo Hansa Niskriyo. So there are 4 ashramas, and in each ashrama there are 4 divisions. There are 4 types of brahmacharya, 4 types of grihastha, 4 types of vanprastha, and 4 types of sannyasi. So he says that 4 types of brahmacharis are called Savitra, Prajapatya, Brahma, and Brihat. And they have their Varta. Varta means for sustenance. And Sanchasi, Salin, and Siloncha. These 4 types of activities, Varta, Sanchaya, Salin, and Siloncha, this is for the householder. 4 types of means of survival. And then there are 4 types of vanprasthas. They are called Vaikhanasa, Balkhilya, Adumbara, and Fenapa. And then there are 4 types of sannyasi. They are called Kutichak, Bahudak, Hansa, and Niskriya. Niskriya is also called Paramahansa. So this definition is given in the commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Upnayad Arabhya Gayatrim Adhiyanasya Triratram Vyapya Brahmacharya. When a child is given Upanayan Samskara, this sacred thread ceremony, which is done at 7 years of age for the Brahmin boy, 8 years for Kshatriya, and 11 for the Vaisya. After he gets the sacred thread, then for 3 days he has to live in seclusion inside a room, and he is given food there. So that is called brahmacharya. That is the first type. That is called Savitra. This is the Savitra brahmacharya. Then second one is Vratanya Charata Samvatsar Paryantam Prajapatyam. If he continues this vow for 1 year, that is called Prajapatya.
Mean to stay inside for 1 year?
Chant the mantra. Gayatri Madhyani. It's not that he has to just stay inside, he has to chant Gayatri also. And Veda Grahana Paryantam Brahma. And then the third type, which is more common, that is one goes to the Gurukula, studies the Vedas, and he remains celibate as long as he is studying the Vedas. That is called Brahma, Brahmacharya. That is Brahmachari. And then there is the fourth one, which is called Brihat, and that is lifelong. Maran Paryantam Brihatiti Chaturvidam. Means one remains unmarried, celibate student till one dies. So that is called Brihat Vrata. Dehat Brahmacharya. So these are the 4 divisions of Brahmacharya. Then Varta, Anishiddha, Krishyadi Vritti. Now, next ashram is called Grihastha ashram, householder, married life. And married life, how he has to survive. First is called Varta, means he does something which is not forbidden, like he may do farming or he can do consultancy. It is not forbidden. Or business or cow protection. So these are the different types of vritti. Vritti means basically some service where you earn money. Then there are second type is Sanchaya Yajanadi Vritti. Second type is called Sanchaya, where you perform sacrifice for others, like priests. Like in the marriage party, these priests are coming and they are doing marriages, then they are given some dakshina, food, cloth, etc. So they live on that. So this is second type. So therefore marriage has to be performed only by a householder. Not that sannyasi is doing marriage. Right? Because that is not the job of a sannyasi or a brahmachari.
Let's hope not.
Well, I have seen.
I was being married by a sannyas, Guru sannyas, they were performing marriages. So they were holy. He was saying, I give my daughter to you. He was saying like that. She's my daughter. I give it to you.
Okay, so that is not the business of a sannyasi. Then Salina Maya Ayachit Vritti. Then there is another vritti. It is called Salina Maya. What it means is that you don't beg. You just live in your house and don't beg. If something comes to you, you can live with that. And then fourth one is called Shilonchanam. It is Patita Kanisha Kana Vritti. So in this what you do is that either you go to the field where they have cut the grain. Suppose there is a wheat crop and then you cut the wheat. You have the sickle in the villages, they do that. So some of the grain falls on the ground in the field and you pick that up. Or some of this, what you call, comb, which is on the top. Corn. It can fall down also. So you pick that up. While you're cutting, then these things can fall. So you then, once the farmer has done that, he has cut his crop, then this type of brahmanas, they go to the field and they try to collect it and live on that. But now it is the age of machine. They don't cut it by hand, they do it by machine, nothing falls down. So, no more Srila. And then there is Silonchan. Other is that you go to the marketplace where they sell grain. So when they are transporting grain from here to there, something falls on the road, you pick that up like pigeons and live with that.
Is that really possible? Is that actually possible?
Not in this day and age, but in the past there were people like this. In Mahabharata there is a story that when Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Rajsuya sacrifice, this was such a big affair. You can imagine this marriage party in India. What a big arrangement we have to make. Now imagine a sacrifice in the olden days. This is nothing. So after the sacrifice was over, then one mongoose came and he was rolling on the ground where the sacrifice was performed. But this mongoose was very special. He was half golden and half normal. Golden in color. Just like these days people, they dye their hair. So one side is red, other side is green. So he was half golden and half normal, and he was rolling, and then he left. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was sitting there, like after some big function is over, and you just sit there, and the servants are taking away the chairs and packing up things. You have seen. So Krishna was also sitting there, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, and they were observing, and things were happening. Everything was being like wrapped up. So he saw this mongoose coming there and doing this, and he was very, surprised. What is he doing? So he asked Krishna that, please, can you tell me what is this mongoose doing? So he said, yes. He said that there was a Brahman nearby living here, and he was living with this Sulonchan Vritti. Means he was surviving by picking up grains from the marketplace. And one day when he was eating, one householder came, some beggar came or guest came, and he was angry, so he gave food to that person and some water to drink. And some water fell on the ground, so this mongoose came and touched that land, and that part became golden. So since then this mongoose is going around because he likes to be completely golden. And everybody will think, what a mongoose, golden. But he came here and he tried it, but he did not turn into golden. That means the piety which that Brahmana got by doing this charity of giving this meal was more than your sacrifice. Your big sacrifice did not create as much piety as that act of giving grain or food was. So this mongoose is going everywhere to see if someone else is pious like him. And he has not yet found anybody. So Yudhishthira was surprised that such a big sacrifice, and we think we are feeding so many people and this and that, but it's not equal to the religious merit gained by the charity done by the Brahman. So there were many people who used to live like that in India before. And you can imagine their situation, how they were surviving and how little they must be eating. Now when we think about them and we think of ourselves, that if you have to follow dharma as it is described, then actually bhakti is simple. Because now you can eat pasta, no problem. And after that you can have your cake and ice cream. But these people are just surviving on these grains. And then they will meditate, living somewhere in the forest. So all types of austerities people were performing in India. It was an amazing country. If you read all this, and up till recently some people were doing like that. It's not that it just talk or people are telling lies. I think after 50 years people will stop believing in all this. And there were actually human beings living who will go to the marketplace and pick some grains and just live on that. And there are married people with wife and children. So Siloncha iti dvandakyam. This Siloncha is compound word actually made from two words, Sila and Unchana. So Sila is when you go to the field and you pick there, and Unchana is when you go to the marketplace. These are two separate things. Ukalwaj Hrasva Dirgha Pluta, it is a sutra from Panini grammar. Grihe iti jivika chaturvidhyat garstham api chaturvidham. So because the means of living for the householder is of four types, there are four types of householders. So there are four divisions of householders, as there are four divisions of brahmacharis, depending on what type of activity they are performing. Then there are Vaikhanasas. Vaikhanasas are Akrishta Pachya Vrittaya. So Akrishta Pachya Vrittaya means that they live on what grows naturally. Right? Is that the translation of Akrishta Pachya? Akrishta Pachya is without tilling the land. Something is growing by itself. Some types of grains are growing in the forest. Sometimes you get these grasses, some of this food which we eat on Ekadasi. These things were actually wild type of things. Now people may be growing them, but they're like wild grains. So just living on that wild grains, they are called Akrishta Pachya. Then there are Balkhilya. Balkhilyas are Nave Anne Labdhe Purva Sanchita Anne Tagine. That suppose you have some food in your place, then you go out, you get more food, and when you get more food, whatever is in your store, you give it up. Not that you bring more and you add on to that. So as soon as you get more food, then the old one is given to somebody. This is their principle. Means they don't store more than what you get in one time. If you get something you eat and something is remaining, okay, that's all right. But if you get more, then that has to be given up. And if you don't get and you don't have anything, then Haribol. Continue with that Haribol program.
So no money involved, no profession,
No profession. They are already one prasthas, so there is no question of they live in the forest. Then there are Audumbaras. Audumbaras are Prataruthai Yam Disham Pratmam Pashyanti Tat Ahritai Faladibhir Jivanta. Their rule is that when they get up in the morning, and then to whichever direction they happen to look, then they go to that direction. And whatever fruits and flowers they get in that direction, they live in that. So they are living in forest, one prasthas. So they are called Adumbara.
So they don't have any more residents then?
No, they may be living in some place, but wherever they wake up, when they wake up, then if their face is to left, then they will go only to the left to search for food.
Search for food.
And that is in the forest.
But then they come back to their residence. Okay.
Then there are Fenpa. Fenpa have another speciality, that they don't pluck fruits. Swayam patitahi faladibhir jivanti. Fruits which have fallen down themselves, they live in that. And if you don't find any fruit fallen by itself, then also you are on a Haribol problem.
They must all be very skinny, these people.
So how much fruit are you going to get? And if you are few of them living, and then there are monkeys around.
You cannot get any. So still.
Austere, right?
Really depending on mercy of God.
Yes.
Amazing.
So they are the 4 tribes who live in the forest, vane. Iti vritti bhedena nama bhedad van prasthashramopi chaturvid. So these are the 4 types of van prasthas. So other people have given little different explanation. The Khanasa, Balkhilya are called Panchagni Adi Sadhaka, Surya Pakanna Bhakshaka, Vanastha Vanyasya. In Balkhilya they do Panchagni. This I saw. Panchagni, Pancha means 5, Agni means fire. What they do is that in the summer time when it is hot, like month of June, then they build fire on 4 sides. Fire front, fire back, fire to the right, fire to the left, and they stand in between. And the 5th fire is from the sun. And they will just stand there. So they are called Balkhilya. And when it is winter time, then they go to the river like Yamuna or Ganga, they stand inside up to the neck in the water.
Up to the neck.
Yeah. So this is the type of austerities they perform.
They do this until the fire is extinguished, has
No, they
died, or
may do it for particular hours, that I will do it for 8 hours or 10 hours a day. And if it is dying, they put more wood in it.
they themselves keep the
Yeah,
fire going.
Of course, they don't have a servant to stop the fire.
But to keep the body cool,
They can take break,
they meditate
put
on
more
ice.
water.
How they can
They have
control
to stand in heat. So there are various types of
They
austerities.
cannot die like
Phenapa are also called Vayu Jal Bhaksa. They drink only air and water, nothing else. Actually, literally, Phena means the foam, and Pa means to drink, that they just drink the foam. Then there are 4 types of sannyasis. Nyasa iti sannyasopi chaturvidha. So first one is called Kutichaka. Kutichakaha swashram karma pradhan. Kutichaka basically means that they make a kuti. Kuti means a small room. They live in that and perform their activities of reading, writing, meditation. They don't travel. They stay in one place. So therefore it says swashram karma pradhan, doing the duties of their ashram, which is sannyasa ashram. Then there is Bhavoda, which is also called Bahudaka. Karma upsarjani kritya gyan pradhan. That they give up the karma part and they give prominence to Jnana. Bahudaka also means that they travel to different holy places. Bahu means many, Udaka means water, which signifies Tirthasthan, holy places. So they go from one holy place to another holy place. That is also significance of Bahudaka. Then there is Hansa, Jnanabhyas Nishtha. So they are very much fixed in cultivation of knowledge. And knowledge actually here means oneness with Brahman. Am Brahmasmi. Because this is Jnana Phalam. And then there is Niskriya, which are also called Paramahansas. They are the one who have realized absolute Prapta Tattva. So they don't have any duties to perform, they are free there. They may be wandering, living in one place. So Yathotram Srestha. Among these four, the later ones are superior to the previous ones. So Bahudak is better than Kutichak, Hansa is better than Bahudaka, and Paramahansa is better than Hansa. So these days sannyasis are all Paramahansas. You don't see Kutichak, Bahudaka, etc. Every sannyasi is Paramahansa, Parivrajaka Acharya. One prastha we don't see, except we saw one in France.
The doctor.
So then this all Brahma created. Brahma was very tough creating all these tough things. It was not easy. So then he says that Anvikshi ki traivarta dandaniti stathaivacha evam vyahritas chasam pranavo hiyasa daharata. So then he created different systems of knowledge. So first one is called Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki is the logical system to deliberate, Anviksha. And Trai means the knowledge of the three Vedas. And Varta is knowledge about Arthashastra. And Dandaniti is about ruling. The kings have to know Dandaniti, how to punish and give judgment. Those people who are not following the rules and regulations, they must be punished, otherwise there will be all chaos in the society. So Dand is very important. At present, one of the problems, especially in India, is that there is no punishment for the lawbreakers. If you break the law, and even if you are caught by the police, then there is a court case. And there are so many court cases pending in the court that it may take 10 years, 15 years before anything can happen. Just to give you an example, that this Babri Masjid was broken down somewhere around 1991. And now the report has come by the judge. 15-20 years have gone. Then they will pronounce punishment on that. People may have died by now. It may be difficult to trace those people. So this is not uncommon here. I have one of my case pending in High Court from 1981. So that means the case was in front of the Baba who gave me the land, and he has died, and then his property was transferred to me, so along with that the case also came to me. So I'm looking after that case, and even I may die and the case may continue. There have been cases for 60-70 years that the case was, and the grandfather was alive, then he died fighting the case, and the son died, and the grandson is. So therefore Dandaniti, that this justice and punishment is very important function of the government. Otherwise nobody fears, because they say anyway we do something and it will take so long before anything happens. So if you grab somebody's property and you are illegally occupying it, and if the other person is not powerful, then what will you do? Okay, you go to the court, you file a suit, and there is hearing, and one after another, and it may take 20 years before the judgment is given in your favor that actually you deserve to have this. So at least 20 years you could not use your own property, and they have used. After that, even if they vacate, then you are fortunate, and if they don't vacate, then what will you do? Then you file another suit to get help. That's what happening for Bhagavat Nivas. Bhagavat Nivas we won 4 years ago, but we are not able to take the possession because they don't want to leave. So we have filed a suit to get help from the police to vacate. They should vacate and we should get possession. But the judgment for that suit is not coming because the opposite party is always putting some obstacle. And there are many ways to delay the decision. So they are still sitting there. You have won the case, okay, and so what? We are here. So in the meantime, people can die or anything can happen, or you get depressed with this whole thing, and then not only that, you have to fight in the court all the time. You pay fees to the lawyers, spend your time, money, everything.
Is there a very high court where one can go?
No, you can only go there against the judgment. You cannot just go like that. In India, you have
Against
lower
the
court,
judgment,
there is a high court, and then there is a Supreme Court. But you go to a Supreme Court when you did not get judgment in high court. You go to high court when you got a wrong judgment in a lower court. Then you appeal. So these are appeal courts. So that is another thing. Suppose I occupy your property. Then you file a case against me. Then it takes 10-15 years before you won the case. Because you are right and I am wrong. But then what do? I go to high court and I appeal against this judgment. And I take a stay order. So I am still occupying. And now you have to fight in the high court. And then in the high court it may take another 10, 15, 20 years, who knows. And suppose you win there also. Then what do? I appeal in the Supreme Court. So in the meantime, I think we will die. So this is what many people do. So therefore, power is needed to protect your own property. The law is there, but what can law do if the justice is so slow?
Very frustrating.
Yeah, very frustrating. That's why it is very important to do Haribol here in India. Otherwise you get frustrated. So when you are frustrated, what do?
Pray.
You go to the
You
forest.
pray. Because you don't have money, that you go to bar and drink. So then you pray. So many people are praying like this in India. Not that India is a very religious country. That is a misunderstanding. People are going because there is no justice here. So they are suffering. There is no basic facility. There is no hospital. So there is no hospital and you are sick, then what do? You pray to God, please remove my disease. Then if I do this, then I will spend 5 rupees for your arti. So temple is doing multi-service. It is working for the court, it is working for the hospital, working for the psychotherapists. And some family problem is there, people are praying. See, God is doing a lot of job here in India. So why people don't go to church in the West? Because they have nice courts. They have hospitals. They have social security. They have health welfare. So why go to church? There's no need.
They don't have anything to ask to God. Or
What is this? Says battery low. It's not plugged in.
Oh no, Babaji. It's dead, no?
It's not on.
So when it states that these things have come from Brahma's mouth,
It's completely went off.
Yeah.
Why it
Just
was not
now?
on? Why? Why it turned it off?
Oh, they turn it off. I plug it in now.
Why it was not plugged in?
Now it's plugged in. You see that?
Don't remove it.
Okay. This was last few minutes or two.
so when it says that these things were all coming from Brahma's mouth, that means he spoke it.
Not necessarily.
Like there
Depends
is this saying in the Bible, in the beginning was the word.
which thing you are talking about.
Here it always says that from Brahma's mouth, starting from the eastern mouth, arose the 4 divisions of Vanaprastha, and then from Brahma's mouth came this and the other thing previously. So that means he uttered it, he uttered the words or the formula, and then it came
Now
in
with the mouth you can say, but when you say that it came from the hand, then what will you say? Mouth is all right. It came from the mouth means he spoke it. But when it is said that it came from his hand,
Oh, I did like this. That is Shakti.
so you can do the same from the mouth also.
No, it just struck me with that similarity with the Bible that it says in the beginning was the word.
Yeah, ultimately everything is coming from the word. Later on he will say this. If you go to verse number 48, go to verse number 48 and read the translation.
The Supreme Lord, who is impersonal Brahman and the personal Lord, filled with various Shaktis, makes his appearance as Brahma, whose body is composed of the Vedas, which is audible sound as Vaikari and inaudible as Om.
So now he's saying that his body is made of sound.
That's
So it's all coming from the sound. Whether it is hand or leg or this or that doesn't matter. Actually it is coming from the sound.
And sound is spoken. Sound is spoken.
Sound means sound is the basis of manifestation of gross things. Whether they have form or they are bhavas or knowledge, ultimately it is all coming from the sound. That is the meaning.
That's very interesting.
Another thing is that all these things, they have their form. Means, although it may sound little queer and strange, but when it is said that dharma has 4 legs of vidya, dan, tapa and satya, then you can also imagine that actually there is a personality called satya, there is a personality called dan, personality called vidya or purity or daya, and they are coming, and they have the power which is propagated further down by knowledge, education. So everything has form also. And there is a name and form going together. Whatever has a name has a form. So Adi Bhautik and Adhidavik. forms. So even when it is said there are 4 ashramas, he created 4 ashramas. You can also imagine that there are actually 4 personalities. And there are 4 divisions, then they are also there. Because it is also said that Vedas, they prayed to the Lord. So how can Veda pray? Because Veda is a book. But even in Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 87th chapter, the prayers of the Vedas personified. Everything has a personality. Now that personality is also in the subtle manner. But there are personalities who have that identity or ego of being that. And when it is said that dharma is getting reduced, means now these personalities, they feel weak, diminished, powerless. So then Lord comes to empower them. And then when you do sacrifices, austerities, then these things, they get empowered. So it may look like that somebody is doing austerity, how is it doing good to anybody? If somebody is doing sacrifice, so how it can influence others? But actually influence is going into the universe and helps to improve or cause disturbance depending on what kind of activity one is performing. So things happen at various levels. Some are visible, some are not. Some are vyakta, some are avyakta.
So taking this principle into consideration, then your activity, may it be good or bad, is observed and reciprocated by those various personalities who embody these qualities, or
I think they get influenced by it.
for example, if I'm truthful, if I speak the truth, if I'm living a truthful life, then that leg of Dharma
Becomes
personified
established. It gets strength.
gets strengthened, so that personality
Will
has
bless him.
attention on me because I'm strengthening him.
Yes. And
Okay.
that personality will be happy with you and bless you. Automatically.
This is
So that's how it is described, that when people are doing austerity, they get power. Because these personalities signify potencies, powers. So you also get that power.
So if one was to refer to the Lord's vastness, greatness, the same principle can be applied.
Yes.
There has to be some personification of what the vastness is.
He himself is Brahman.
Um,
That is the vast.
So there is also this say that you acquire the quality of the person or the personality whom you are serving or giving,
Yes.
offering your energy or your attention or whatever service.
Some Srila bhajanti vai. Atva bhutpati natha.
Now about this sound, the sound is also an energy, basically.
Everything is energy.
age of these children, they have to take this vow of brahmacharya. So this 7, 11. And then they stay secluded. What is the understanding behind it? Why? What needs
Chant the mantra
for
without.
chanting the mantra?
They are initiated, and what is the purpose of initiating on the mantra? You have to practice it.
When they ask for practice it. So they are not allowed to, it would be good for them not to have contact. And this, some of them, they were really staying inside for 1 year, for example.
I don't have experience of that, but if it is written, there must be.
Must be, very serious practice in your society where a child is 7 years old can stay inside for 1 year chanting the mantra.
No, it's like these days people do so many types of
Society was completely
strange, extraordinary things in their fields. This was their field.
like also all these people living without earning money or having any exchange or any, even with their family also, and wife and children, becoming really very basic,
They lived just day to day.
day to day.
Well, you have to consider the ecological environment in those days. It was perfect nature.
Nature was also supplying the need.
Flowers and
Fruits.
fruits. Well, now everything would be impossible. Also, there are some areas still forest, but how we can.
It's definitely true that in those days things were available from nature. Now in city culture, you don't. Where are you gonna pick fruits in New York City?
You can go to the shop and pick.
They witness somebody. They witness somebody's dropping on the floor.
It's
Oh.
cheap.
I stand outside if someone's fruit drops.
You see Hemalata jumping on the floor.
Obviously, it's not going to fall from a tree.
So this modern culture has really pushed away so much.
Because it has a different purpose. Its purpose is not austerity and knowledge, spiritual knowledge, but comfort.
Like now in Vrindavan, all these escalons in these places which they are famous for being spiritual places, now they have become very common because of this influence of.
But they still don't get comfortable, even when they have all the facilities for pleasure and enjoyment. There's always something that is missing, and they keep striving. It's
First
like
of all,
an addiction.
their minds are disturbed.
Yeah.
Because too many things for the mind. Now you try to imagine a person, suppose who is living on some fruits fallen from the trees. What will be in his mind? He's not making any plan for anything. He's not making plan even to cook something. He doesn't need pots. So if he has to sit and chant, he's not going to be bothered by anything. He will be really concentrated on it. Because no thoughts will come in his mind for anything. There is no television, there is basically nothing. He is living in the forest. What is he going to think of? And try to imagine the simplicity of life.
Not possible to imagine for us.
So that's why they were able to see the nature and then see the divinity in this nature. They were not trying to exploit nature at all, not even plucking a fruit from the tree. So how happy the nature will be with them.
Also,
It will reveal itself to them. Nature will actually blossom. Now we are trying to protect environment, environmental protection, and environment will protect you.
and this the last group of sannyasis, this vanaprastha, they could live on air and
Water.
water only. So means that they could derive the energy directly from the nature, not even from the food. And, so this is amazing.
So then you don't need bathrooms, toilets.
Because energy, basically you can get your energy from the air and the clean water.
So they devised means how to live without taking much into the body.
Into the mouth.
Too much.
Yeah.
There is some saying, if you know, simply living by thinking. Well,
Not simply living, but simple living. There are some people who are simply living.
You know, that there are people who are called anorexics. They just try to stop eating because they want to be as small. Actually, they want to leave the body. So they don't eat, but they get very, very sick. They could die. So that's, I guess that's their way of like living just on air. But that's like called illness, mental illness, emotional illness. They can live on air and just get very, very sick. They get smaller and smaller and smaller. They can die,
they take this
but
in.
they're very sick.
They cannot get any energy. These people,
No,
they
no.
get energy.
They try
They are
to transcend the
healthy.
body.
They must be very healthy.
No food.
No problem.
Hmm?
They must be healthy and peaceful.
But anorexics.
No.
Oh.
This type of people, they can be very. There are some practices. I thought that these are like yogis, basically.
Yogi is a general word.
Yeah, but this type of person who can penetrate the law of the law of nature and how the energies are attacked. And these people who are meditating in the cold water or in the heat. I mean, the normal law of the body is related with the mind, because if the mind feels the heat and react, then you can't stand in the heat. But they have, maybe they can meditate on the ice to I don't know, they have to balance somehow.
No, the idea is to transcend mind.
Transcend the mind. So it means that they are not concentrated on the body level.
Deep meditation.
You wonder how the body is not burning. How the body cannot burn.
Body also that means.
That was prescribed for the vanaprasthas.